I know why Puffy is mad. Because if you thought you knew about Sean Combs, after watching this Netflix documentary, The Reckoning, you will soon learn that as a Generation X millennial, however, we didn't know too much out here. First things first, Puffy is mad as hell because he hired a videographer to follow him around in New York when he was fighting his case. And when he got arrested, the videographer sold the footage to Netflix. So that's why they have so much behind the scenes footage. So Heavy D put Puffy on. Many of us knew that Heavy D was a major rapper. Rest in peace to Heavy D. He was from Mount Vernon. Puff was from Mount Vernon. He was on Uptown Records. Andre Harrell ran Uptown Records. Uptown. And Puff wanted to get put on. And I'm going to tell y'all, I am very concerned. I really think that Andre Harrell and his mama Janice, these are the two people, and I'll say Clive as well, that created Puff. But Janice and Andre Harrell, yeah, they got a lot to do with what's going on with Puff right now. And the way that Puff took in Usher, Justin Bieber, to me it all starts with Andre Harrell, because literally this is what Andre Harrell did with him. Brought him in, let Puff move into his new house. Puff ingratiated himself with Andre, was like Andre's assistant, dressed him, clothed him, all kinds of crazy stuff. And the pictures that they show, I'm talking about bunned up. And it doesn't talk about he like a son to him. No, it didn't look like a father and a son. It looked way more intimate than that. And Andre threw crazy parties, and you see Puff throws these crazy parties. Andre says, this is very important, that when he brought Puff as an intern, think about the cheesecake story at Junior's. The first thing he told Puff to do was go to a store 10 blocks down and get a tape. He said Puff came back in 2 minutes, and he could not believe it. And it made me think about that Junior cheesecake, where he got that idea from, because basically that's what Andre Harrell did to him. Let's get into Kim, because once he goes into Uptown and starts being an intern there, they say he was mesmerized by Kim. Mind you, Puffy has an issue liking men that he is basically jealous of or wants to be like, wanting their women. This was a thread in these first 3-4 episodes. Puffy knew that Kim was dealing with Al B. Sure. At that time, Al B. was the big dog. Puffy was nobody. But he seen Kim. They said when they would come up on that elevator, Kim would be sitting there just beautiful. So he was mesmerized by her, and he wanted her. But Misa used to be cool with EPMD, Eric Sherman. Y'all know you got to chill. She was cool with him. And he said that Puffy was a major fan of him, Eric Sherman from EPMD. And that Puffy basically wanted Misa because he thought that Eric Sherman liked Misa, but really him and Misa were just friends. And that he got very controlling over Misa. This is the first time I ever took notes. What's also sad to me is that Puffy did not drink or smoke when he was at Uptown Records. He was absolutely against it. Now, there's a lot of people in here. Kalina, I ain't gonna lie, Kalina looked a little jittery. She said Puffy was her hero. He also tried to take Suge Knight's side piece. That's how Puffy was, where Suge Knight had a side piece down in Atlanta. And Puffy gave somebody $50,000 to get a chain, trying to tempt Suge Knight's side piece to become his side piece. And let's get into the Cassie, where again, he got with Cassie when Cassie already had a man. Puffy sees women that are with other men, and he wants those women, and he does not take no for an answer. One thing he said in the documentary, Puff, was that he's a dreamer and he doesn't deal with reality. His mother used to throw these extravagant parties. This boy that lived in on the first floor of Puffy's house, said that Janice would throw these parties and all kinds of crazy things would be going on. How she always had a new caddy. And I'm going to be honest, he said that she was a little abusive to Puffy. He said that the whoopings that Puffy, a lot of us thought that Janice catered to Puffy. But it sounds like she was very hard on Puffy because he didn't have a father. So she was going out her way, like many Gen X went through, going extra hard, trying to make him extra hard. She also almost made him into this hustler persona, where she had a man who was a big hustler. His father, he got unalived. It was almost like she made Puffy as a little boy into this, the fur coats and everything. Like at his father's funeral as a toddler, she dressed him in a chinchilla fur. The friends said that they would go to Harlem. Mind you, they were from Mount Vernon, and she would be making stops throughout Harlem. I ain't going to say what he was saying she thought she might have been doing, But if you know what I mean, she was making stops all the way through Harlem. The friend also said he saw Puffy put his hands on his mother. And it, made me think about how she's so tolerant and how he treats other women in his life. But it sounds like they also had an abusive relationship. This Puffy and Tupac thing really hurt me. Because I was around back then and I didn't see it like that. But now it's all very clear that Puffy was jealous of Tupac. Because I do remember how Tupac and Biggie were very cool back in the day. Tupac brought Biggie on tour with him and did shows with him. He loved Biggie. But when Tupac came to that studio in New York and got beat up, almost got unalived, this video is really making it seem like maybe Puff had something to do with that. And Biggie took the fall. But Puffy was jealous of Tupac and Biggie's relationship to where he did not like that Biggie and Tupac were tight. And he even copied Tupac, where Tupac had the I Get Around video. They said he saw that. He was obsessed with that video. And that's how he came out with the Big Papa video. It seems, I never saw it this way, but like Puffy went into like hardcore rap with Biggie and everything because he saw the West Coast rappers doing it. So he was really trying to be like them. I mean, Puffy has just done people in his life dirty. Even the co-owner, the co-founder of Bad Boy, Kirk Burroughs, that many of us don't even think about anymore. He made that man give up his 25% of the company by telling him, I need this to get this deal and then I'll give it back to you. And he never gave it back to him. Let's not even get into poor Craig Mack. Suge Knight was Al B. Sure's security guard back in the day. And Al B. Sure was on Uptown. So Puffy already knew Suge Knight from back in the day. But anyway, when Suge Knight tried to take Craig Mack with him, Flavor in Your Ear was a whole bop. And Craig Mack's wife saying that Craig was absolutely broke back then to where they couldn't even pay their bills. And when they asked Puffy for money, he took out a bankroll of money, a whole roll of money like this, and gave Craig Mack $100 out of it. Puffy has gotten away with a lot of things throughout his life, and that was another thread in here from back in the day when I was young and he had that stampede at that community college because of the concert and 9 people died. He got out of that. When he beat up Steve Stout, or him and his people beat up Steve Stout, and Steve Stout took that $500,000, he got away with that. When he was with the J-Lo situation, he got away with that. Puffy has gotten away with a lot of things. And, it seems like, basically the chickens came home to roast. And even the 50 months, honestly, based on a lot of things in this documentary, and I'm not even close to being through with it, this is another big thing. There's a woman named Joy Dickerson who basically says that Puffy drugged her and videotaped it and then played the videos at parties. He got this from Alpo. Where if y'all remember in Paid in Full, Alpo used to put pictures of girls up at a club on the wall projected to show all his men, the girls that he was dealing with. They said Puffy idolized men like this. Alpo was from Harlem. And, now you think about the video and the pictures and stuff like that. Is this where this man got all of this decrepit stuff from? Idolizing hustlers, idolizing pimps. Again, his friend said his mom kept these type of characters in their house.